Welcome back, second graders, for day 2 of Reading Comprehension, Making Judgments. I am Mrs. Offerdahl, and our target is I can make a judgment based on evidence from the text. Remember that readers make judgments by using their personal experience to decide how they feel about the way a character acts. And like a generalization, it's only good if it's based on fact from the text. So judgments equals personal experience plus the text. When you read any text, you can make a judgment about how you feel about the way a character acts, and it's important that you stop and think about the character's actions. This helps you connect with the story and helps you remember it. Since it's full of events, we need to write things down as we go, and you can use a simple note chart. This is the same chart that we used yesterday. I just flipped things around, so I have the evidence first this time, why I think that, and then I have my judgment as the second step. Today we're really going to think about how our personal experience helps us come up with the judgment. Pause the video and get out your orange Houghton Mifflin book. Turn to page 221. Carousel. Page 222. Alex didn't want her hair braided, or her shiny shoes buckled, or every single little pearly button buttoned on her dress. And she definitely didn't want her birthday cake after dinner with just her aunts. "Where's Daddy?" she grumbled for the 8th time. "Hold still, Alex," sighed her mother, tugging away. Off went the sneakers, on went the bows, off went the jeans, on came the frills. This is a good time to stop and think about writing something on our What Do I Think chart. So Alex, she's doing something right now. She doesn't hold still when her hair is getting braided. So that's why I think something about my judgment. My judgment is that she doesn't want her hair braided. When I'm being forced to do something I don't like, I will tend to pull away. And I've noticed this too anytime I'm brushing any little kid's hair. If they don't want you to brush it, they'll pull away. Turn to page 224. There's Alex at her birthday. Dinner lasted forever. Alex pushed peas from side to side on her plate. She stabbed a potato chunk with her fork, dragged it through the gravy, and ate it like an ice cream cone. "Alex," her mother warned, and then smiled at the aunts. "Let's open your presents before we cut the cake." Page 225. Looks like she's opening her presents. Before Alex could say, "Let's wait for Daddy," her aunts had whisked away the dinner dishes, pulled balloons out of bags, and popped party hats on everyone's head. When you whisk someone away, it means you take things away. You take things away really fast. There was a pile of presents to open. Alex opened Auntie Leah's gift first. "I have 1,000,000 pairs of pajamas," she mumbled grumpily. Page 226. She unwrapped a frothy ballerina tutu from Aunt Ruby. If something is frothy, it's like fluffy. Kind of like froth is when you see water coming in from the ocean. It's that foamy stuff that comes at the top of the tide when it comes in. And think about that with like a ballerina tutu. It's the fluffy, frothy part that like sticks out. Aunt Ruby liked things to sparkle, look scratchy. Alex fussed under her breath. Her mother made a face at her, but Alex didn't care. Then, burrowing through puffs of tissues, Alex found a pair of long, fuzzy, hot pink slipper socks. They had rabbit ears and googly eyes and whiskers. Aunt Rose scurried to grab the camera. "No way!" Alex groaned. Another great word that the author uses on this page is this word, burrowing. When you are burrowing, it means you are digging through really fast, kind of like an animal digs in the dirt to try to burrow under the ground, dig under the ground. That's what she's doing through these tissues. this is a good place to stop and write something down on our What Do I Think chart. So another thing that Alex, I noticed, is doing is she opens her first 3 gifts and she's just complaining about them, even though they're really cool gifts. My judgment on why Alex acts this way is because she's angry because her dad isn't there and they didn't even ask if they should wait for him. So I think sometimes when I'm angry about something, I'll be grumpy about something else. So that's why I think that's what Alex is doing. Here she is opening the present and burrowing in to dig to find those slippers. Alex, her mother said sharply, page 227? No, 228. Alex, her mother said sharply, maybe you need to go to bed. Alex quickly hugged her aunts and thanked them. She wasn't mad at them. Oh, I was right. My judgment was right. But Daddy promised, she began. I almost said beg there, but I had to look to make sure that that's what the word said. But Daddy promised, she began. He said he'd try, honey. And, her mother added, handing her the last gift, he said to give you this just in case he didn't get back from his trip in time. So I'm going to go back to my What Do I Think chart because Alex does something in this next part. So after her mother scolds her, Alex hugs and thanks her aunts. And that's what she does. So my judgment is that she knows she shouldn't be angry at her aunts. And she even says that in the text. She says she's not angry at them. 29. Alex felt her cheeks getting hot. He knew he wouldn't be home. And when you see this, boys and girls, in writing, when you see that there's regular text and then there's something like this called italics, it means that the main character or whoever is doing that is thinking that. They're not saying it, but they're thinking it in their head. Alex felt her cheeks getting hot. He knew he wouldn't be home. She tugged at the paper and yanked off the ribbons. Ooh! Ah! The aunts cried. There before her was the most perfect little carousel that Alex had ever seen. And a carousel is a merry-go-round ride. He said he'd be here, Alex hissed angrily. The aunt stopped oohing. He promised. She kicked away the ribbons at her feet. That's it, young lady. No cake for you. Say good night. Her mother wasn't smiling. But Alex didn't care. She wanted to blow the candy roses right off the cake anyway. Good night, Alex barked. She marched upstairs, holding the carousel by one of its delicate little poles. This is another good spot to stop and write something on the What Do I Think chart. So Alex does something. She opens her last gift and complains angrily, even though it's a really beautiful gift. My judgment on why Alex acts that way is that she is still mad at her father. Even though he gave her a really good gift, he wasn't there like he promised. And so she's just complaining angrily about because he isn't there. Page 232. I don't care. Alex twisted the bows out of her hair and pulled off her party dress without stopping to undo a single little button. He knew it. He knew it. She fussed at the little animals. Alex heard her aunts laughing downstairs. They're eating up my cake. Page 233. She jumped into bed, kicked the blankets back, and sent the carousel tumbling. There was a soft snap. Slowly, she picked up the carousel and studied it. When she's studying it, it means she's looking at it carefully, like you would study for a test in school. You're looking at your things carefully. The tiny zebra looked wobbly. With just a wiggle, it broke off completely. Page 234. Its little painted face looked almost angry. She had to fix the carousel before her father came home, or he would think she didn't like her gift. She yawned. She turned. There would be time in the morning. Alex didn't remember falling asleep. Something tickled her knee, waking her in time to see the last of the carousel animals hopping lightly out of her window. I'm going to stop and write down a last thought for my what do I think chart. Her actions are that she breaks the carousel and then she thinks about fixing it. So I think that even though she was mad at her father before, I think that she doesn't want her father to know she has broken his gift, and actually she's starting to not be so mad. All of a sudden, she is seeing all of these animals lightly hopping out the window. She sees the last one, and it says she doesn't remember she's falling asleep. I don't think this is really happening. I think now she's dreaming. Couple of clues from the story. One, the author tells us she doesn't remember falling asleep. So she doesn't say, Alex started dreaming. She says this in a creative way. And then also, she's doing a bunch of actions right here. But then she says there would be time in the morning, ... like it's trailing off. And then she tells us about the falling asleep and then the animals hopping. So those are my clues that now Alex is dreaming. Oh no, she gasped. They had to come back. The empty carousel was on its side, all deserted and sad looking. Daddy, she whispered. Alex ran to the window and, knowing what she had to do, slipped easily down into the soft grass outside. So when they're talking about deserted here, it sounds like the dessert that you would eat, but this type of dessert it means that everything has gone away. So if you're a soldier and you desert your troop, then it means that you leave them, never to come back. There's some of the animals. What a fun dream. The animals were getting away. Alex took off running. Even as she hurried after them, it seemed that the moonlight was making them grow, their legs stretching farther and farther. A paw here, ears there, whiskers in and out of the blue nighttime leaves. Page 238. And just when she thought she had lost them forever, Alex saw them waiting beyond the tall trees. They were waiting for her. Alex tiptoed up to the zebra. She carefully climbed up on his back. A little bit of pole was sticking up just where she had broken it off. Sorry, she whispered in his ear. Had he heard her? The zebra shook his mane and began to trot. Then he galloped, then he flew. Around and around and around, all of the animals were running with him. From frog to flamingo, from rabbit to giraffe, Alex took turns. Upside down, right side up, one hand, no hands, both eyes closed. She is on the zebra. Oh, the zebra? That was silly of me. The giraffe. Page 243. When at last they slowed down, Alex found she was again on the zebra's back. One by one, the sleepy animals made their way through the cool grass toward her bedroom window. Alex curled her fingers in and out of the zebra's mane. Even in the pale light, she could see that he was smiling. Okay, page 244. One eye opened, then the other. It was morning. Oh dear! Alex sat straight up. She remembered everything. She remembered the carousel animals had all gotten loose. She pulled the covers apart, but now there wasn't a single little animal in sight. She rolled onto the floor and peered under the bed. No flamingo, no leopard, nothing. She doesn't realize she's dreaming, I think. That happens to me sometimes when I wake up. Page 246. Happy birthday, sleepyhead. You awake? Her father was home. Hugging Alex, he kissed her smack on the nose. Then he saw the carousel sitting underneath the window. Daddy, I'm sorry I broke it, Alex said. And I'm sorry I missed your birthday, her father answered. I got really angry when my plane was so late in coming home. But I couldn't stay angry. Know why? Alex shook her head. Because the same thing that made me angry made me happy when I thought about it. I was happy just to be coming home. And there she is with her father and both of her parents. Okay, we are on page 249. Breakfast, anyone? Her mother asked, going straight to the window to close it. It got a bit windy in here last night. She winked at Alex. Alex kissed them both. We have a little work to do, her dad said, pressing the tiny zebra into Alex's hand. What's for breakfast? Oh, scrambled cake and ice cream omelets. Her mother laughed and headed downstairs. Alex took her dad by the hand. And put on those cute little slippers for Daddy, Alex, her mother called out. Alex squeezed her dad's hand. He was going to love those slippers. I need to read that last sentence over again. It was pretty small, so I had a hard time with it. Alex squeezed her dad's hand. He was going to love those slippers. That sounds much better. And there is her dad. And that is the end of our story. So boys and girls, today we read a story carousel and we revisited how to use a what do I think chart to help us make judgments. The only difference today, besides the story, was that I had my judgment last and why I think that first. It doesn't matter what order you have, as long as you have evidence from the story and your own life that supports it to make your judgment. Remember that readers make judgments by using their personal experiences to decide how they feel about the way a character acts, and like a generalization, it's only good if it's based on fact. So that, second graders, is how you make judgments when you read to help you comprehend text. And again, always stop and think about it along the way. We do that so that we can remember what we read. Until next week, stay healthy, helpful, and calm.